We've been like Sid and Nancy for months now.
Summer, Sid stabbed Nancy. 7 times at the kitchen. I mean, we have some disagreements, but I hardly think I'm Sid Vicious.
No, I'm Sid.
Oh, so I'm Nancy.
Let's just eat and we'll talk about it later. That is good. I'm really glad we did this. I love these pancakes. What? Tom, don't go. You're still my best friend.
What's up, Blue Roof Nation, and welcome back to Nostalgia 100. I know it's been a while. We're going to change the format a little bit, make it a little more structured and a little more fun. It's going to go from just being me or Lawrence, and it's going to be a group of people. Mostly me, Lawrence, Ashley, and then my homeboy Saul. You may know him from Wolfcast. And we're going to take movies and dive into them. And we'll alternate who picks the movie. So we let Saul pick the first movie. So let's just get into it.
The movie I'm reviewing today is 500 Days of Summer. It stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zoe Deschanel. And it's an indie movie. And what makes the movie so good is that the way he shot it and the way it explains a relationship.
It's a movie that helped me through a rough time in my life. I was dealing with a breakup, and I was real down, you know. I didn't really know. It was my first real breakup, and I didn't really know how to deal with it. Part of the problem was I was still very much in love with her, and she had moved on. And Saul suggested this movie to me, and you'd be amazing what a good movie will do for you, for your frame of mind, and for helping you move on. You introduced me to that movie.
Yeah.
I remember that. You were like, you should check this movie out. I think I was going through a breakup or something.
I think we both were.
Yeah. You were like, you should check out this movie, it'll help you cope. And it did.
It does, yeah.
It really does help you be like, oh, I'm not alone. Like,
I'm not the only one doing stupid things. And again, the expectations, I think that's my favorite part. The split screen where it's your expectations, what you think is going to happen, and then what actually happens. Because that's usually how it goes.
Well, it's not only that, but also the parallels that they did so wonderfully of the build-up to the relationship and the ending of the relationship. Not so much the relationship itself, but like when you first meet somebody and you start talking and you start getting along and you're like, oh, we connect, and we fit. And then as the relationship starts to stale and crumble, you're like, well, how come this isn't the same? Like, I'm doing the same thing, I'm putting the same effort into it, and it's just, you don't care anymore.
You get tired of each other.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
But I think the biggest tragedy of this movie is that there's no foreshadowing. She literally says at the beginning of the relationship, she does not believe in marriage. From the very beginning, he knew what he was getting himself into, but he tried to change her. And he just set himself up.
Yeah.
And we've all been in that situation where...
It's because you're like, well, maybe they just don't think.
Exactly.
Like, maybe they'll see the error of their way. But and also, to be honest, how many people do you know in real life said, I don't want kids, I don't want X, Y, Z, and then in the relationship they get into where they say that, they mean it. But then their very next relationship, they have kids, they get married, so it's like...
I can name so many people, like a handful of people that the people that we all assumed were meant to be didn't work out, and the very next relationship they had kids, and it's just like, okay. So
it's like there's a reason why you think like, nah, you're just saying that, you don't really mean that, because history has shown us like a lot of times people don't mean that, they're just saying that.
But yeah, it's and it has a lot of famous actors. It has Zoe Deschanel, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
It started my man crush on Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh man, I've had a long man before that, but
well, I loved him on Third Rock, but he was a child.
That's not right.
I was a child as well. I'm younger than him.
But yeah, it's I think that's where he hasn't aged.
No, well, from Third Rock he has.
He's got taller, that's it.
He was on Roseanne too.
Oh yeah.
He played the nerdy, weird guy, like DJ's friend. I'm not saying it moved me on. I mean, that took years and years of me torturing myself to finally happen. But it definitely gave me a sense of I'm not alone. That other people go through, like, it's really like a good song. You know, it's something that it resonates with you and it speaks to you on levels that that you might not even be able to express, to put words to. And it just helps you experience that and shows you really that you're not alone, that other people deal with the same things you deal with in the same ways that you deal with them. And to me, that's what this movie is. The most crucial part of this movie, the thing that means the most to me in this movie, is the parallels between as they're building the relationship and as the relationship crumbles. Because to me, that's life. Like, that's always been my experience of, like, we bonded over these series of events and it built the relationship that we have. And yet now you could care less about those moments and what in our dynamic has shifted that you no longer remember or care or acknowledge the basic blocks of our connection. And it's something that it's taken me a long time to really understand and process, you know?
It's so you know how it's gonna end. You just don't know the in between. And again, it's just it does it in non-chronological order.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
part. But I also like that the 500 days isn't just the meeting, getting together, the relationship, the breaking up. It's also the him getting over her.
Oh yeah, eventually.
Which is, I think, one of the most important parts of the relationship ending because it's the hardest.
So, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I think the way that I felt when I first watched it, obviously because I you know, was going through whatever it was that I was going through in life, as far as breaking up or whatever, but I think, to me, it was a love story. It was more about a person finding their love and going through whoever it was that they needed to get through, you know, whatever type of relationships or whatever sexual experiences they needed to get to in order to get to the person that they were meant to be with. So I do feel like it was a love story, but then again, I could definitely kind of see how it wasn't. But I don't remember. I think that when I watched it, I definitely was. It didn't make me feel better. It didn't make me feel better. It didn't make me feel good. It definitely still gave me that you know, that upsetting feeling. And I know it's meant for you to like kind of move on, but I was like, no, this isn't real life. This isn't depicted of what the fuck I went through or what the fuck I go through, even though some of it is, but not entirely. So to me, it just didn't. I don't remember. I really don't remember. But the thing that I do remember is just it just didn't do much good for me.
They were never really a couple. They were
for a little bit.
They were, but she was like, this isn't going anywhere.
500 days though, so that's like what, 2 years? A little less than 2 years. They were together for a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't all build up and then let down. Like, there was a chunk of time. They just didn't put a whole bunch of the movie about that.
Well, she didn't want to put a title to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Damn, I gotta watch the movie again.
Me too, because I feel like so basically.
Well, the next movie we'll decide, and then we can all watch it before we do the next episode.
Yeah, because I don't remember a lot about this movie, so I'm trying to remember. But basically, yeah, it sounds like the girl was a very fucking fucked up ass bitch in this movie.
But she really wasn't. She was always upfront about what she wanted.
Yeah.
So she told him straight up.
She told him straight up. She was like, I don't believe in marriage.
She chose not to believe her.
And she even said from the beginning, you know, this isn't gonna go anywhere. I don't believe in marriage for this reason. And he even argued with her why marriage is good, and he still pursued her.
So basically, he just kind of got all into his own ways and into his feelings, and just kind of took it the way that he wanted to take it.
Exactly.
But she also led him on too. She did.
She did. Basically, they met. They had a chemistry because they did have chemistry.
Yeah.
And so they started to hang out. They started to get close. You know, like when you meet somebody new. And then he kind of wanted to move it forward. She was kind of holding back. And he said he was okay with that. Yeah. And so with that understanding, they started to move forward. But they weren't on the same page.
He was hoping to change her mind.
Yeah.
But in her defense, she never said her mind was changed.
Exactly. But
so,
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, like you can say she let him on because she knew that he had feelings for her that were more than she had for him.
And that
But
is
she never
technically-
lied to him.
She never lied.
But that is technically like if you
But-
know what the fuck and you don't say anything.
No, but she did.
But she
she
did
did
tell
say
him.
something,
Oh, okay.
and he said he was fine with that.
But as time grew and he knew how she felt from the beginning of the first conversation, she should have said something like, "Yeah, I know I said this, but."
But this has been a conversation I've been having with a lot of people out of things. When does personal responsibility come into effect for anything? She said, "I don't want a relationship. I don't want this. I don't want that." At what point does it become his problem?
Well,
That
always been
he's
problem.
putting himself in a situation that he's not happy.
Have you talked to people in general?
Well,
Nobody.
never talked to anyone.
Nobody takes responsibility for their actions. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking? You expect for people to be out there and be responsible?
Yes!
No!
Yes, I do!
Okay, well, you obviously haven't been outside, bro. You obviously haven't
Nah,
been meeting
bro.
people. You obviously haven't been doing. Word is born. You ain't been meeting nobody. Because if you have, I guarantee you would know. Every fucking buddy that I've ever met in my whole entire life doesn't ever do that shit.
But the point
Ever.
is, shouldn't they?
Ever.
Shouldn't
They
they?
should.
They should. They should.
Won't. They won't.
But we live in 2018.
But my point is that we're putting blame on her when all she did was tell the truth.
What it is, John, is you're expecting for these people to be
How are
like.
you not siding with the woman?
I don't remember how I felt when I watched the movie, so I want to watch it again because I don't remember whose side it was on. I felt like I was on Joseph Gordon-Levitt's side, but I do love Zoe
No, I'm definitely on
now.
his side though because I've done what he's done.
And-
I've had a girl tell me I just want to be friends, I just want to be this, and then I was like, well, maybe I can change her mind. And usually you get halfway there and then it doesn't work out, and you get little signposts that it's changing, and the relationship evolves. It does, and it starts to feel like a real relationship, and then you're like, oh, it's working. But it's never really there, and it always fails because they're not on the same page.
Yes.
So how much of that is their fault, and how much of that is my fault for not really listening to what they're saying?
Well, perhaps you should have spoken up as well. Communication is key in any relationship. So you want them to communicate, but you're not communicating? You need to be the one to set an example, and you need to be the one to communicate first.
Audience, I'm taking responsibility. And her argument is that I'm not taking enough responsibility.
No, well, because I'm going off of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. If he didn't say anything,
To be fair though,
then he can't
They
expect
were
from
both
her.
at fault.
Neither one of them communicated.
she did.
She communicated in the beginning, but because she didn't keep communicating and keep
But to be fair, we didn't
reassuring
see
him.
every moment of every day. And how many times have you been in a relationship? Because I know I have, where you tell the person like, I want this to be a little bit more, and they're like, well, I'm not there. That's not what I'm looking for. And then you're like, okay, you compromise, and you're like, but that's still what I want, and maybe one day. And then just to get you to shut up, they go, well, maybe one day.
Yeah.
That's not really them giving you hope. That's them telling you, shut the fuck up. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Well,
Yeah.
there was this one scene where they got in a fight in a bar, and she explained to him that I told you this was in a relationship, and he stormed out and went to his apartment and was like, I guess couldn't sleep, but she ended up coming back to his apartment later on that night. She didn't have to do that. It could have ended right there.
True. But here's the thing. She wanted a bad marriage like Ashley's. She wanted, they were friends, and they were more than friends, but they were less than a relationship. And she liked the relationship they had. It wasn't a couple, but they had everything you had was a relationship. So she liked the relationship the way it was.
Right.
He wanted more from me. She didn't want less. She wanted what they had. And so her going to his house afterwards was her saying like, I like what we have. I want to keep this. The problem wasn't that. The problem she had what she wanted. The problem was entirely, and when I watched the movie, I never had these thoughts. These are thoughts that I'm now having for the first time as I think about it. It's kind of hindsight because I'm seeing the fault that I've made in a lot of my past relationships. But
preach.
the problem is, she liked the relationship they had.
Right.
It was the relationship that she wanted. Is the relationship she asked for? Is the relationship she got? He wanted more, and so there comes a point when if he wants more, and she doesn't, he either needs to accept what she wants or he needs to leave. And I guess she doesn't want him to leave, but at the end of the day, if she doesn't want what he wants, they're not on the same page. That doesn't work.
So they're both at fault.
So both should have done more communication.
Yeah.
All right, fair.
More communication should have been there. because she needed to reiterate the fact that I do not want this. And even though she said it before, she needed to keep on it because over
But my
time,
point, though, is that she got what she
feelings grow.
wanted.
She did get what she wanted, but over time, he was thinking feelings were evolving, feelings were growing.
Oh,
because
she-
that's what
she
happening.
cared about him.
Exactly, and I
Exactly,
guarantee you, her
exactly.
feelings were evolving as well. Maybe she didn't realize it, maybe she did, but at the end of the day, more communication should have happened.
No. But hold on. I care about a lot of people, but it's not always romantic feelings. And I
Right.
get that sex was involved, so it's more romantic than platonic. But she still didn't have couple feelings. So this wasn't her happily ever after, and she knew that. And to her, this was right now, and she was happy with that.
Right.
And she said it numerous times. He just kept thinking this is happily ever after. How is that her fault?
Because she didn't keep reiterating it.
I just said she said it numerous times.
Show me the movie.
So you want
you're talking about every
you
single
want.
scene. The more sex they had. You mean to tell me after every time they had sex, she reiterated it?
Okay. Let me
She
ask
was
you.
like,
Let me ask you a
she was
question.
like, hey, I know we just finished doing this, but remember, this is just for fun.
Let me ask you an
No, she
honest.
didn't. No,
let me
she
ask you an
didn't.
honest to goodness question.
Fine.
Now, you know I've never really done the friends with benefits thing, but
Mm-hmm.
have you done the friends with benefits thing? Okay. After every time you've had sex with a friend with benefit, have you stopped and gone, okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. We're just friends having sex, nothing more. I don't like you. Every time, every single time.
Not every time, but over a couple of years that have gone by, yeah, I say.
Couple years, they were together for 500 days. It's not even 1 year. She said it numerous times.
But we didn't do it like that. We did it every couple of months over the span of fucking 5 years. So whenever I don't have no one and he don't have no one, hey man, what are you doing? Nothing. Can I come over? Yeah. And then the last time that we did do something and we are just friends.
Oh, God.
And we do. I was like, boy, you don't give a fuck about my life. I don't give a fuck
Talking about the story
yours.
where you literally said, I don't give a fuck about you.
Yes, I was like, I don't care about your life, and I know you don't care about mine. And he was like, well, goddamn, it's true. You don't care. I don't care.
The point I'm trying to make, Ashley.
So yes, you have to say it, even if it is fucking 5 times later after you had sex.
Even if it's as blunt as, I don't give a fuck about you.
Well, because I knew he did it. Asking me, so what about you? Don't care, and neither do I. So let's just cut the crap and do what you came here to do. Like, because at the end of the day, I know exactly what he came there for. And
Okay,
and the thing is, I also didn't want him, and he also didn't want me.
Let's not use that instance. Let's not use him. Have you
Right.
ever had friends with benefits with somebody else? Who you were friends with? Who you're friendly with? Who you were on good terms with? Or someone
Aaron?
Okay, we'll go with Aaron. You guys worked together. You were
worked
you were
together, yeah.
friendly. You were friends of the family.
Uh-huh.
Every time you guys did it, did you did you?
No, because he
I
was
guess I
young and he wasn't worried about being in a relationship. And that's the good thing about fucking around with young people, because they ain't trying to be with you.
My point
I
is-
never came across this problem. I'm sorry. My
point-
life is not that
My
complicated.
point is, you say it a couple. Every time the conversation comes up, you say it. But you're not gonna start that conversation. You're not gonna be having morning tea with a friend and be like, "By the way, I have no interest in you.
Well-
Can you pass the sugar?"
Well, okay. Then I guess basically I haven't been friends with any of the people that I've been with. So I guess I'll say that. Because, yeah, you're right. Because if I truly, really cared
Because
about
the
their feelings-
relationship she wanted isn't the relationship you had with those guys.
Yeah.
She liked that they were friends who just happened to have sex.
Yeah.
So it's not the same thing, and you're not gonna sit there with your friends every day going, "I don't care about you." You're not gonna be friends for very long.
Yeah, which is why I try not to do it with most of my friends.
That's good advice.
So yeah, I definitely, if I hate you, alright, let's do this. But if we're friends, no, we can't do that.
I watch that movie now, and I have a very different reaction than when I watched the movie the first time. When I watched the movie the first time, I so related with him, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's me." And now I watch it, I'm like, "Oh, that was me." And here's where all the mistakes I made was. So it's a very different, and it's always good to find movies that you watch it different times, and it has different ways of relating to you, you know? Because it really did that. It speaks to me on a different level now than it did then. and it comes from a place of growing and exploring. And good art, good cinema is always something that when you come back to it, you get a new experience. You get something different from it than you got last time. And this movie delivers on that.
I think we've all been in that situation where we thought a scenario was going to play out, and how it actually plays out. And it's two different things. It's kind of hard to watch sometimes because it's kind of heartbreaking, but it's a real life. I'm assuming the director, this is what happened to him and his expectations of a relationship, but it has a good ending because it helps him realize what he actually wants in life and pursue that goal. Again, just like I'm pretty sure the director, this is what happened to him in real life because I think everybody can relate to a heartbreak, reflecting on the heartbreak, and then actually doing something about it. Instead of saying that I mope, I guess we all mope at certain times, but then what are you going to do about it? And it actually pursues into something more that he actually wanted that he didn't know he wanted, and I feel like it had a good ending. There's always a silver lining, even if you don't think even if it's not your silver lining, it's a silver lining. And he when he was in this depressed mode where he was just eating junk food, going to the liquor store. Yeah, we've all been to that phase, but he got past it, and it wasn't a cringe. It didn't do it from, like you said, beginning to end. It showed his sad moment, his happy moment, and then the ending. Yeah, and it was just the way it was told is very good.
I think one of the movie illustrates one of those things that, especially when you're younger, you think that every moment is the most dire moment.
Yep.
And it's not until you go through some things and you experience some things that you can look back and say, like, I'll get through this. Shit moves on. Like, life happens.
I was scared of that. I was nervous about that. Yeah, but like I said, that's why I think the movie, it touches a lot of things, and everybody can relate to it because we've all been to that. We all had a heartbreak. We've all had our moments where we were down, and we've all got past it.
I can't. Oh, and then also, we've all come to the point where you're like, you then see your ex with somebody else, and how painful that is.
Did
that really happen to him, or was that a fantasy he had?
No, it happened. It was with her new love interest.
Yeah. And then I also can't speak about anyone else for this, but also you end up the next girl you're interested in is very similar to the last, because her name was Summer, and then the next girl was like August or Autumn. Like
yep.
It's just like, oh man,
it's such a great one. And that part, it was. But I feel like he was in a good place, and he was able to handle it a lot better. But I agree that you tend to. I think it's subconsciously you just tend to go for the same.
People have types. Like,
well, I do believe people. Personally, I know people who have types, but all the people I've known never end up with their types.
Yeah, that is true.
But I think subconsciously we have, we're drawn to certain people, and whether it's physical, I think it's more than physical looks, but I think their personality, or maybe it resembles something, or maybe people who have problems, or you want to save them, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I also think it's the same reason why when you want a relationship, you can never find one.
Yeah.
When you're looking for something, you can't find it, and it's like a watched pot never boils or whatever. Like when you're looking so intently for something, it doesn't really happen. That's why when you have a type and you keep looking at people of that type, like, oh, this is gonna be it, it never happens, and then somebody comes and catches you by surprise, and it's
not your type.
Yeah.
And it's how it works. That's what I'm saying. It always works out that way. Like, I agree. When you're looking for a relationship or a person, never find it, and then out of nowhere, it comes up.
Yeah, but it's a good movie. I highly recommend it.
Great movie. Honestly, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Overall, I mean, I definitely like it, and I will definitely tell other people to watch it. It's a good movie.
So, do you want to pick the next movie, Ashley, for next time?
Yeah, next time.
What movie? Not your Sodomite movie. Any other movie? Not that one.
What is it? What are the guidelines?
It just has to be something that you think is a classic that you want to talk to people about.
That I think is a classic.
That you think is, it doesn't not a classic like classical, but something
Sleepers?
We could do Sleepers. We could do Sleepers.
I mean,
I'm really wrong.
That's a classic in my mind.
Let's do Sleepers.
That is the classic movie ever. So.
All right, so next week will be Sleepers.
Sleepers, guys.
Hopefully not Sleepers though. That movie went wrong.
Alright, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Ash.
I'm Saul.
Give us legends.